problem taking lives on the battlefield. And because of his background and because of his arrogance, Goliath stood as one who did not fear anyone or anything. As a matter of fact, he was so full of arrogance that he not only stood to challenge the children of Israel, but he even challenged God himself. Goliath was one who would, in his own way, talk about you in a heck of a way. He'd talk about your mama, your daddy, sister, and your brother, and dare you to say anything. He was one of those ones who you probably would encounter as a youngster at school when mama would send you with a pocket full of money, and he'd be standing there and saying, empty your pockets. Hello, somebody. Now, I'm not sure why it was that the Bethlehemite by the name of Jesse would send his youngest son, David, out on the battlefield. Jesse's other sons had volunteered to be a part of the army of Israel, and now they were down, pitched, and ready to fight. And yet Jesse, probably moved because of curiosity or concern, sends his son to the battlefield with lunch for his brothers. Not only did he have lunch for his brothers, but Jesse even thought to send a little extra gift for the captain of the thousands. My mind began to start wondering, did not Jesse think about the fact that his youngest child might get impaled by arrows flowing in the air? Did not Jesse think that maybe his son might get trampled under horses that were running to and fro in the midst of the battle? Because when things are slinging and going just like bullets, they don't have no name. Hello, somebody? And it's bad to get a lick on accident. Hello? And no, y'all never had to deal with getting a lick on accident. Hello, somebody? But as I look at the record, I realized two things. Number one, God didn't go into it. And so if God didn't take time to go into it, then neither do I have a necessity to go into it. And whatever reason that God chose to have David in this situation, it was not by coincidence, but by God's divine providence. David, this young shepherd, this youngster, this young lad who had just in previous chapters been anointed as the king of Israel, finds himself out on the battlefield heading toward his brothers, and he overhears the dialogue of Goliath. Even as he's coming through, my brothers and my sisters, he not only hears Goliath, but he begins to see the stature of Goliath. And the first thing that I want to deal with today in the midst of these fear factors is that the first fear you got to deal with is the fear that is presented by your own self. Sometimes when we look at situations that are too large for us, there's a fear that grows inside of us, and we become paralyzed and can't move. We look at situations, and the first thing we say is, not me. I can't do that. I ain't never done nothing like that before. I know you've never been faced with a challenge, and the first thing you think of is that You've never done it before, and because you've never done it before, you can't do it now. But I need to tell you, my brothers and sisters, that if you never move beyond the challenges of your own fear, you will always deny your own self the victory that God has in store for you. If you always allow yourself to be handicapped by the fear that's caused by your own limitations, you will always be in the grips of a stagnated situation. The man who's too scared to move forward will never enjoy the beauty and the blessings of what is just around the corner. The one who's so scared of growing up and learning more and doing better, the one who's so scared of being more than he was on yesterday will never enjoy the beauty of what he can be on tomorrow. And many times, my brothers and my sisters, even in the church house, we allow ourselves to be gripped by fear that comes from within. We look at ourselves and we look at our numbers, we look at our bank accounts, we look at our attitudes, we look at our ethnicity, and the first thing we cry out is what we can't do. But did not the record say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me? Does not the word declare the victory is not in us, but the victory is in him who resides in us? For greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world. You cannot allow the limitations of your own life to keep you from moving forward. You cannot allow the fear of your limitations to stop you from trying. Because if you never try to do better, you'll never find the joy of your own success. Well, David had to overcome his own fear of him that was within himself, because this was a youngster on the battlefield of men. This was a child, so to speak. One part of the Bible describes him as just a little ruddy child. But now he's on the battlefield in the midst of men facing a giant. But yet within him, he has to overcome his own self-fears. And David overcomes his fears because we see them taken over with anger. David gets upset when he hears the words of Goliath. Almost like some folks get upset when you start talking about their mom. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know about you. But I'm going to have to stand here and tell you the truth. You can say a lot of things about me. You can talk about my weight. You can talk about my hair. You can talk about my glasses. But I don't care how big it is, you got to fight, you start talking about my mom. Hello? And I believe I ain't the only one in here like that. Sometimes there ought to be something on the inside that begins to start moving you. And David was moved because of the words that Goliath was saying. But not only, my brothers and my sisters, did David have to tackle self-fear. He also had to tackle the fear that was presented by those around him. They looked at